host, and we're here most Monday through Fridays to talk coffee and answer questions that you may have about coffee. And as you can see today, we're a little bit different. I'm actually in the space that's going to be our new workshop at some point. And back here, I thought we'd do the live stream. I had to go get some blood tests this morning. Got some blood drawn, and so now we're here. So how's it going? Hope it was well. Hope your weekend was good. So today we've got some things going on. We've got a little bit of cake here. I thought I'd share with you a little bit of cake with you. My mom's birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Mom. 85, I think. 84. And so her friends made her some cakes, and these are two of them. There is a strawberry cake here, and there is a strawberry tres leches. And I was like, ooh, that looks pretty good. Look pretty good. Kent, good morning. Good afternoon to you, Kent. Dev, good morning to you out there in Honolulu. Peter, what's going on, man? How are things down under? So today I thought we'd like just go through some things or just make some basic coffee. There's a brewer that I got many years ago. It's been many years now, and it's the predecessor to the Simply Good coffee brewer. And if you're not too familiar with Simply Good is a new coffee brewer, a relatively new coffee brewer for the home at a very good price point, right around $100 US. And Laura, the person that put it together, I've known for many years in the business, and she wanted to create brewers that are nice quality, so that people could brew nice quality coffee at home without a lot of muss and fuss. And so her first venture, she was the person behind BonaVita, and BonaVita was started by Laura, and she came out with this quite a while ago. This is the original BonaVita brewer. And one of the great things about this particular brewer, hey Naomi, Malku, how are you? One of the things about this brewer is that it will brew to SCA, the Specialty Coffee Association of America, the old SCA gold standard, for a golden cup standard. So it will heat the water to about 200 degrees and then brew it. So it's really, and in many respects, when it comes to coffee brewers for the home market, that's one of the big battles, is trying to get a brewer that's going to give you the right temperature of water and the right delivery of water. And this pretty much does it. For when it came out, it was $100. And so the Simply Good Olsen is the current thing that Laura had produced. This is kind of where it all began with this brewer. Now this all kind of has its roots, especially if you see the Olsen, you'll see that more apparent. But all of these kind of have their roots in the Technivorm, right? And Technivorm is another brewer from Europe that is quite expensive, about $300+. And the big thing with Technivorm is that it's always brewed really nice quality coffee because it's able to hit the right temperatures. Now there's some things about the Technivorm that are a little bit naggly and a little bit irritating. Like, as a retailer, they're difficult to work with. The stick that comes out over the brew basket is kind of narrow, so it doesn't really saturate all your coffee. So you really kind of have to do some kind of maneuvering if you really want to get everything saturated. So it's a little bit strange in that respect. Naomi says, are you in your home? I don't reckon. No, we are at the new shop. This will be the new shop. As you can see here, you can see there is a real professional level coffee brewing equipment. And then we have our little green wall here and our back area. So how it's going to work out. So this, I'll tell you a little bit. So you can see here, there's this bar, this big piece of white oak. I've been working on this for the past year. This started out as a 19-foot long piece of a white oak slab from a tree that fell in my friend Matt's house. He had it cut into slabs about 4 years ago now. And they air dried, and he was like, man, you want one for your shop? And I was like, yeah, man, thank you. He gifted it to me, really, really beautiful thing for him to do. The thing that I was told about white oak is that white oak past 12 feet is a very unusual occurrence. It's very difficult to have anything longer than 12 feet, and this was 19 feet. It is currently 17 and a half feet. You have to cut it down a little bit. And it's an epic piece of wood. I estimate, based on some of the growth rings that I checked on it, I'm probably at least 180 years old. So it's quite old. This is what we call flat sawn oak. So it's from the upper part of the tree, right? Or the more closer to the rim. That's why it's kind of has this. You can see here on the slab it has this angle because we're kind of closer to the top or to the apex of the round. And then you can kind of see we're kind of more in the center, but you can see here on the rings. Actually, this is a little bit more rift sawn rather than flat sawn. But because of this, there's been a little bit of a bow. You can see it's cupped a little bit right here in the center. And when I first got the wood, and we took it to Groff and Groff Lumber up in Pennsylvania, where they've got big 36-inch planers. So they planed it down pretty flat. But Doug was like, do you want me to go lower? We're already at 1.5 inches. Do you want me to go? I can go a little bit more and get it really, really, really flat, but then you'll lose another maybe 1/4 inch. I was like, okay, let's just keep it here at 1.5 inches. We'll deal with a little bit of that. But then the cupping did happen a little bit more because it was kept outside. We worked on it outside because it's too big to fit in Matt's workshop. It's too big to fit in my work. It's too big to fit in most any workshop. So the idea was to take this piece of wood and make a long bar out of it. So originally, what you see here, our original idea was that where you see this bump out here, we were gonna build a wall 7 feet long and close that area for service. And then back here would be a long, long bar that would stretch almost all the way to the very back. As you could see how long it is, right? And we would have one long, epic oak bar, which was kind of the plan. That was kind of the plan, but things have taken a lot longer to get going here. So I've had opportunity to rethink it. And so what I'm going to do now, and it is a bit of a painful thing for me, but we're going to cut the top because in order for me to make this more dynamic, because if I put the bar in, it becomes only a service bar, and that's it. There's no. It kind of negates the opportunity for educational sessions here, workshops, because now the bar will dominate the entire space. So the idea is to cut the bar, eight from that end, 8 feet this way, cut it, and then I'm going to build a base for it that will allow me to mount it from this wall, this bump out straight across. And then you'll have a bar height service bar, and then this part of it will become a table height kind of bar where we can have like more interactions with people, So that's kind of the idea behind what we're going to do now. And I'm almost finished. I'm cutting for the lower part. I'm cutting the bases right now. I've been working on that for the last couple of days. The other one, the higher one, it's going to be a little bit more ambitious, I think. I'm already ambitious at the base that I'm doing now, which when you finally see it, it'll be very plain. But, for me, with my talents, the most simplest of tasks is quite ambitious because my skills are not up to the challenge, right? Like I was cutting these, what's called mortise and tenons. Mortises are the holes you put the tenons into, right? So they sit, you might have seen that. Well, my mortises are just hemajang. They're just terrible, and they're just horrible. They're like you see these guys making tenons, and they look all perfect, and they're beautiful, and they fit nice and tight. Mine don't look like that. Mine look like I took a sledgehammer to them. Luckily, they're going to be hidden by the top. You won't be able to see it. So when you see it from the side profile where the two pieces meet, it looks pretty good. But if you were to look at the actual into the mortise where the tenon comes through, you're like, oh man, that's some janky work right there. So anyway, so let's get some coffee rolling here. So we're gonna brew the BonaVita. The BonaVita comes like this. Oh, George is there. What's going on, man, George? I remember when you trailered it up to PA, but it was longer than the bed. Oh yeah. When we tilted, so we put it on Matt's trailer. It was 19 feet at the time. It's now 17 and a half. We had to cut it down a little bit, and I'm gonna cut it down even more. But it was so long, even though we had angled it, that we had to cut it on the trailer because we actually crashed into his taillight and broke it. It's like, oh my gosh. So This thing is just, it's a beast. And I'm paying, I kind of thought about doing this a couple months ago, and I've been putting it off because it just pains me to no end to cook this. I mean, this is an epic piece. It's just like, but I have no practical way to use it. So it's just like, oh man. Oh well. What are you gonna do? Nobody says, I agree, it's beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is a lovely piece. I mean, I think it's now part of me. George says, no matter how simple the style, anything totally handmade has soul, and people sense it whether consciously or not. Yeah, but I definitely have butchered the base a little bit. Butchered. Yeah, good morning to you, man. How was your weekend? Hope things are going. Marco says, is the new shop near the old Spro? So the old Spro, well, if you're thinking about, when you say old Spro, if you're thinking about the Hamden shop, no, it's not near that. It's up in Cockeysville. But if you're thinking about the old roastery that was in Cockeysville, it is right across the street. It's if you know this area, this location will be right behind the Ashland Cafe. So if you know the area, Ashland Cafe and Interstate Tire, we're between the two. So the idea here is to have some workshops and, educational things so that people can come and work with coffee. I'm actually planning on attending a workshop next week. Next week in Covington, Kentucky. It's a woodworking thing, right? So there's a woodworking workshop happening. I was like, maybe I can go attend that. Make the long drive. It's an 8-hour drive, so we might go do that. And but I was kind of curious to go there to see how are they doing it in their space, to get some ideas from how we might do things in this space. George says, Maku, the new shop is almost across the street. Yeah, basically it is essentially across the street from the old roastery. So let's get to some coffee. So I've got the scale. So here, since we've been in the middle of building for the last year. So what I have at here is limited. I don't have a lot of materials, but I do have my scale. This is the Temu scale that we bought quite a few months ago. And you know what? It's not bad. Here's the problem with this scale. I finally realized what I hate about it, right? So this is the thing. When you use it, right, okay, now it's not doing it because it's on this cupped board. But if I put it on this table, right, this is what's the problem with it, right? Let's say if I hit this here, right, see this? It moves. And the problem with this is that the feet are too far in. If their feet were just a few millimeters out in every direction, there wouldn't be this kind of thing happening. So I don't know, Temu guys, if you watch this, move the feet out a little bit more. Or maybe what I could do is probably rip the feet off and then put new feet on there, which would be so much more stable. But otherwise, it's actually a pretty darn good scale. And it's only, maybe 10, 15 bucks, or maybe less than that. It's super cheap. I really liked it. I like it overall. So let's look here. We're gonna look here. Tilt it down a bit more. So we've got the scale. We've got our cup here. I got a bunch of Starbucks cups for free, so I use them for whatever random stuff we have here. So we're gonna zero this out. Perfect. Okay, zero out. Now notice this thing has a timer. I don't really know how to use it. We won't be using it today because we don't need that for this. Okay, so I've got some so I got some coffee. I had a whole trash can full of coffee here. This is this is what professional coffee life is like. You got ridiculous, compared to what you might have at home. We have ridiculous amounts of coffee. So let's go here and tilt it down. Let's tilt it down. Okay, we're gonna add 24. We're gonna do a normal brew, 24 grams, because we're gonna try out. The thing about these, while this has an 8-cup or 48-ounce capacity, 24. No, come on, man. That's got it. 24.5. 24. So as you can see, the resolution isn't that fast, but it works. So we're gonna use 24.9. We're not gonna be too worried about it. Right, we're just gonna, and then now on this, it has a little Melita style cup here, holder. Peter says the best top 100 cafes in the world got recently voted. I saw that. I saw Tim was posting about how they got, he was giving, Tim Wendelbo, very class. I said to him, if you look on his post, you'll actually see it in my comment, but I said, very classy, dude, very classy. They won 5th place, and he made a short video giving his manager flowers as a thank you or to recognize her efforts. I was like, that's very classy. That's a very nice thing to do. I think most people celebrate, but they don't really, but I thought that was just classy. But I don't know. I think Tim got robbed. I think if we look at the list of roasters or coffee places, I think Tim Wendelbo should probably be at the top. The other ones, I don't know about that. I don't know, Peter, you're in Australia. You've been to Toby Estates, like the actual, you've probably been to Toby's, right? The actual. I've been to Toby's in the Philippines, which of course is a franchise, and they're good. Best coffee shop in the world? I don't know about that. I don't know. But, I wonder what the criteria is. We don't know the criteria. So, to me, that's always the thing. It's like, what is the criteria for ranking? And is that, what is it? What is it? Otherwise, it could be anything. It just could be you like it. You think it's cool. Somebody was like, one of the other, if you go to the actual post from the 100 coffee shops in America, in the world, and you talk and you look at the comments, one guy was from Thailand. He was kind of disappointed because he submitted, but nobody contacted him. And I don't know how you're supposed to figure out who's. You have to submit. I don't know. It should be kind of I don't know. You shouldn't. I don't think you need to submit. I think that the people that are ranking you need to be in the know, and then somebody made a comment that, or maybe he made a comment that they told him that, they weren't able to get to Thailand. It's well, if you're not able to get to the countries that you're if you're going to do a world ranking, you're not going to be able to get to the countries. That's like, trying to do the best restaurants of the world, and you can't get to France. Anyway, so we'll forget all that. Not a big deal. So we've got a couple we have one grinder selection here today. We've got the Compact K80. This is a 80 millimeter burr. 80 millimeter burr, R80, not K80, R80. The R80 is a shop level grinder, 80 millimeter flat burrs, made in Spain by Compact. I think Compact in the professional world, Compact is a very much underrated and not well regarded, not well enough regarded of a grinder manufacturer. And I think the grinders are great. They're really solid. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the coffee in. Then we're going to grind. Let's grind. I'm trying to do this with one hand. Let's see. There's a little bit of static today. All right, not bad. Looks pretty good. A little bit messy. Sorry, don't worry about that. But some of the other stuff here, we've got this is the, what do you call this? Luxus Fetco, the Fetco 1.5 gallon dispenser. There's a Grandmaster 875 with the 8 o'clock bean coffee. I got that for a steal many, many years ago. And then I've got twin CW bun brewers here. These are, the plan with this place is to maybe start doing just brewed coffee. I think they're, that's really, and then there's some packaging. I kind of decided to move packaging into here. So we do a little bit of the packaging. And, but yeah, here, the space is, there's the space kind of getting ready. Always in a state of getting ready. Peter says, I've been to two of them listed. What do you think about so which ones have you been to, and what do you think about them? Or what do you think about how they were ranked? I think I've been to a few of the ones that are on the list. I don't, well, you know me, I have a very different way of considering coffee shop experiences. Okay, so we've got our coffee here. I'm gonna put this here. Oh, oops. Paige says, I met Scott from Carlboro Coffee. Oh, awesome. At the US SCA Brewers Latte Art Six. Oh, nice. Oh, so you were able to go. How did you like it? I saw them posting about different things there. And told him you hang on the street. Yeah, Scott's a good guy, man. You know, Scott Connery is really one of the good people in coffee. Like, he's very much where I'm someone that just doesn't want to put up with the bullshit anymore. Like, I just think a lot of it is dumb. He works through it. He always tries to work through it. He's got a lot more patience than I do. And I'm just like, I think when I start to think things are stupid, I'm just like, I just don't want to bother with it. But he's very good at that. He's such a good person. Such a good person. All right, so let's have a look here. This is the BonaVita. We're gonna just slide this all in here. I gotta be careful if it's on this side of the cupped part of the board. I don't know how that's gonna affect the flow. So we gotta make sure it's balanced here. We'll put that balance in. I've got some water, and I got a kind of pre-measure. I got about 500 milliliters of water here. So we're going to, pour not all of it, just a bit of it, just to the number, just past the number 2 line. So these are cup gradations, and each one is, these cups are about, so 2 is about 12 ounces. So each cup is about 6 ounces. So we're just gonna pour probably just a little bit more. There we go, for whatever. Put a little bit more than that. And everything from here is really simple. All you have to do is turn on the brewer, right? We're just gonna hit the button. I've already got plugged in, and then it will automatically start to brew. Right. There we go, light is on. 21:55. Peter says, I don't remember a lot from memory about the places. Okay, no worries. Paige says it was fun, not enough coffee. Not enough coffee to drink if you weren't there as a participant. That was the Nationals, wasn't it? That was the Nationals. Typically in the past during the Nationals, they have had like a brew bar where people could get free coffee. Were they not able to do that this time? So there it is. You can kind of see it brewing. Let me take it out of the stand. I can turn it around. Now I can actually see what's going on. Okay, so you can see it's brewing there, doing its thing. Oh, sorry for all shaky. Peter says, I think they use a star rating for reviews as data as part of the analysis. Gotcha. I think that they should be, well, I mean, I know it's not Michelin, so it's like, it's probably part of that whole, like, 100 or 50 best restaurant organization in the world. It would be better if, like, they had, like, real criteria. Paige says, I got to meet Scott and the guys from Black and White. Awesome. Those guys are all really cool people. U.S. Nationals, the only coffee was some tasting samples from Fortuna. Oh, I'm sorry. That's too bad. There was years ago at the Nationals, they used to have a brew bar for people to drink free coffee. But that was before the SCAA, the Specialty Coffee Association of America, became the SCA worldwide conglomerate with Europe. And so back in the old days, the SCAA used to run the national championships. But now that the SCA is a worldwide organization and no longer a national organization, they have abandoned the U.S. championships and left them to fend for themselves. And the difficult part with these championships is that they're not really money-generating events. They haven't really figured out how to make money at it, which I don't understand. Like, people are able to find a way to make something as boring as poker exciting for television. Why can't they make coffee championships? And I always told them I would help them because of my background in production and television. And they never were open to that. I guess probably because they realized that I wasn't going to do it for free, which is what SCA is all about. They're all about exploitation and wanting everyone to do everything for free, while they pay their CEO $400,000 and put up their staff at like the fanciest of hotels. So, yeah, as you can tell, I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan. Paige says she missed the black and white tasting. Oh, black and white always has nice quality coffees. And Paige says that BonaVita looks like a mix of the Clever Dripper and regular coffee. Yeah, it totally has that. Because it does use this Melita style filter, right? Which has that very, what do you call that? A very clever, a very clever look, right? Very clever look. I don't know, make sure we turn off the power switch. Because, in I guess homage to like, or in respect to people's like, home users' typical predilections, they put the hot plate on here. So you have to turn it off so the hot plate turns off. Now, here's the interesting thing about these hot plates, right? Like back in the old days, with the old school Mr. Coffee, like let's say the Mr. Coffees that are the big white units, you used to be able to cut the wire to the plates so you could actually operate them without heating the plate, or maybe I think you tie them off or something. Can't do that in modern stuff because everything is integrated now, so that the hot plate connection, I forgot exactly. There's this guy on YouTube, Technology Connections, I think his name is. Really interesting guy. Interesting character, interesting personality, but very interesting topics. He did this whole deep dive about the newer generation of coffee brewers and how they've used technology to heat the water. And he talks about how these are now fully integrated. So you just can't shunt them. So you're always stuck with them, which I think is a disappointment. But, I get it. It helps to keep production costs low. Dev says, I was thinking about getting the Aiden. In your honest opinion, do you think it's well, here's the thing. So I've used the Aiden. Matt bought the Aiden, and he really liked it. And I only used it like once or twice, like twice or something like that. And it's a nice brew. It's got a lot of features. But, and you've got these, evidently, things you can control, different parameters. I guess the question is, do you want to get to that level? Right? Like, what are the key components? I think the question to ask yourself is, I think making, like we always talk about, coffee is pleasurable hedonism, right? So with that in mind, what is it that you want out of your coffee? I'm just getting the coffee here, so let's pour some coffee here. Like, what is it you want out of your coffee? Like, if you're the type of person that really enjoys playing with different parameters and seeing how that one parameter, that minute little adjustment, maybe as it reaches a certain temperature, you want to spike the pressure and then come back and see how that affects it. If that's your jam, then perhaps something like the Aiden is really great. If you want something that's super easy, that will tell you what to do, that has cool gadgetry and slick looks, the Aiden could be your jam. But if all you want is to meet the basic parameters of like you're measuring the right amount of coffee that you're buying, that's nice quality, and you just want to have your water delivered at the right temperature so that it brews in the right amount of time, I don't think you necessarily need to buy the Aiden. And the other caveat with the Aiden is that they're evident from this is what Matt tells me, because Matt does all this like reading on Reddit and all this about this kind of stuff. I don't. So Matt had the Aiden. He loved it. And then suddenly it bricked on him. So after a certain amount of time, it just stopped working. Basically, it came up with a message on the screen that said, refill the water. The reservoir needs to be filled. And so the reservoir is already full. So basically, this is a known issue on the Aiden where the machine just bricks itself and just stops working completely. Now, when he told me about this, I was like, oh, that sucks, man. That's terrible, especially for a machine that's costing you $365. But my experience with the O Gen 2, I was pretty confident that they're just going to replace it for him, and which they did. They totally replaced it. No real big deal. They did ask him, though, in his case, to send the Aiden back to them. Where in the O, they didn't ask it back, and I suspect that they're asking to send the Aiden back because they're trying to figure out really what's wrong. They want to see what kind of consistency of errors are happening, and so. And Matt's deep dives into all these like Reddit forums. He's like, it's a big problem, man. Everybody does. It's happening to everybody. I'm like, everybody? It's like everybody. And he says, but it happens about but if it's gonna happen, it happens about the 100-day mark. So I guess if you buy it and you get past 4 months, you're fine. But you may not be. So I don't know if that should be a dissuading factor for you not to get the Aiden. I think that fellow has, in my case, has proven themselves to be responsive to issues and replacing the equipment. So in that, I mean, it would be an irritating thing to happen, but at least they're taking care of you. Do you want to spend $365 on a brewer? I think that's really the big question. Okay, so here's our coffee made in the BonaVita. Nice. This is the House Nation. Right now, good bitterness up front, like strong bitterness up front. A little bit of body, a little bit of nuttiness on the finish, just kind of what I like. Anton says, Dev, in my opinion, only if you need to or want to use time efficient. But you have to remember, Anton is very much a person that loves the technology side of it. He loves the technology. Like, I'm always impressed by how much technology he loves and understands about it. Payne says, yeah, it was totally free to get in. Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Because, you go to the SCA events now and they want to charge people to go in. I'm like, you want to charge people to go into an event that nobody knows about, very few people care about, and is insanely boring to watch. Now, here, Paige, you might find it I think you might find it interesting to watch those things. As a person who's competed, who has won, who has judged, who has had deep vested interest in these competitions, I find them painful to watch. Utterly, utterly painful to watch. Like, I can't watch them. Even when we're there. Like, when I had a girlfriend once that was really into it, and she would like to watch. When we were at the competition, she'd like to want to watch, and she was like, are you going to watch? I was like, no. Like, no, I'll meet up with you after. Like, I can't watch. I'm just like, shoot me. Just kill me already. Because most of the competitors are not very, I find that they're not too compelling. I'm just kind of like, anyway. Peter says, yes, like Michelin star, but not as prestigious. Yes. But, and I realize that Michelin doesn't really give criteria for how they judge. I mean, I guess it's kind of known because at the level of like restaurants that they name with 3 stars is superior. And that's what I think about when I look at the 100 best coffee shops in the world. Like, I've been to Toby's in Philippines. I presume that Toby's Australia is not that different an experience. And don't get me wrong, the level of experience, the quality of experience is nice at Toby's Philippines. The baristas are nice, they're knowledgeable, but are we talking like, I don't know, I think about my experiences at some of the great restaurants of the world, places like Pierre Gagnaire, Alinea, Trotters, per se. I mean, places where like the level of service is so high, the quality of execution is so high, both in terms of hospitality as well as quality of food and presentation of food. Like, coffee shops just aren't operating at that level. Like, I mean, or most of them that I've been to are not operating at that level. And so I'm wondering, like, what criteria are you using for these best of series? Like, don't get me wrong. I would like to see a ranking and be like, oh yeah, hell yeah, that guy's awesome. Or maybe I want to go check that place out. But you put Toby's at the top of the list. I'm like, it's good. Like the top four, I mean, the top whatever, they're good. But until you get to Tim Wendelbo at number 5, like, I'm not that interested. It's like, because I've been to Tim's, I've experienced him, and Tim's an old friend of mine. But like, that guy, they execute very highly. I'm hard pressed to believe that the rest are executing like that. So this is the tres leches. Nice. I can finally eat something because I had a blood test this morning, so I haven't eaten like over 12 hours. Now I'm just going to spike the sugars. Anton says, Dev, I would ask myself, what is it that you want? What is the next step you want to take? If you just want to improve the taste of coffee, I would look at other things. Well, one of the nice things, too, to keep in mind with Dev, guys, is that Dev is a coffee roaster for Ali Coffee out in Hawaii. So he has access to very nice quality coffee. So, Tres leches, love it. If you've never had tres leches, you should go try it. Go to your nearest Mexican bakery and try it. Basically, it is cake that has been soaked with 3 types of milk. I think evaporated, regular, and I think sweetened condensed. I don't know. I've never really made it. I just go buy it. So my brother had some of this yesterday, and my brother is a tres leches fanatic. Like, I like tres leches. He is all about it. He was like, I don't like the strawberry. I'm like, I don't like the strawberry. What is wrong with you, man? We still related? Crazy. Peter says, I think only one cafe has been awarded a Michelin star. Well, there was a cafe in Chicago, Kasama, I think it's called, the Filipino cafe. They got 1 star from Michelin. I guess they're considered a coffee shop. They're both a restaurant and coffee shop. I tried to go there when I was in Chicago. I got up kind of early before they opened. Had my taxi driver take me over there from the hotel. We pulled up. The line was like down the block. I was like, we're out of here, dude. He's like, do you want to get off? I said, no, take me to Chinatown. We're going to go get dim sum. I was like, forget. I can make Filipino food at home. Anton says, today I had a 10 I don't know if that's the one, Peter, that you're talking about. There could be many others. That's the one that I recall most recently. Anton says, today I had 10 grams of a certain coffee left, so I added 5 grams of another. So good. I see, but I think, like in your case, right? And based on what you've told us here on the show over the time, like, I think you could probably take any of your coffees when you run low and put them together and come up with something really nice. Because I'm presuming that you're buying some fairly nice quality coffee. So I think when you have nice ingredients, and this is what I think about like cooking or coffee blending or anything like that, when your components are of high quality, when you already have the components of high quality, it makes everything else so much easier. Like, it becomes very easy to produce anything. So you've got nice quality coffees at home, and you're like running low on one, so let me mix in a little bit of the other. And you're gonna have, chances are you're gonna have really wonderful results. Which is, again, it kind of goes back to what I think about, like, you know, like sharing stories with people online, like, or with other operators. You know, some operators are very much like, oh, we're not gonna tell you our recipes. What are you tell the people your recipe? If they're a cheap kind of operator, they're not gonna buy the quality of ingredients that you're buying. So their product will be inferior. So not to worry. All right, so here's the strawberry cake. I like strawberry cake. It's got the kind of regular commercial kind of icing, but nice. It's like a sheet cake, a little bit sweeter. You can kind of tell the difference, right? You get the American like style sheet cake with a lot of like sweetener in it, whereas you got the Mexican panaderia style type of tres leches that's not as sweet, right? But still, all what? When you're eating cake, there's really not much to complain about. Because you could be eating asparagus, which isn't healthier but not as fun. Dev says, I just want a new home brewer toy. Money isn't an issue. Just purchase the Weber Brewer. You know what, man? Go buy the Aiden. Go buy it. Go buy it. Hoon and I got into a discussion maybe a couple years ago when I first got to know him. And I was like, dude, what is with all these coffee gadgets, man? Why you guys so buy? Because to me, it's like I'm up to here in coffee gadgets, right? Like I don't have a lot of what home enthusiasts have, but I'm up to here already, and I'm like, oh God, I can't. I feel dirty. I just want to get rid of a lot of it, right? But I said to him, I said, dude, what's with all the gadget stuff? And he's like, man, it's just the people who want to buy stuff. They enjoy playing with toys. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm a guy. I get that. So I was like, okay, cool. I understand. So yeah, man, go buy the Aiden. Especially if money doesn't an issue and you just want something to play with, you're trying to just play, go buy it. Go buy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy your money. That's why you work anyway. Get the Aiden. Hopefully it doesn't break. And if it does, they're going to replace it. So I think you can buy the Aiden, even though with these known issues, I think you can buy the Aiden with relative security that they're going to make you whole. The other side of it is I don't know how they handle. I don't know how they handle shipping to Hawaii. Like, man, sometimes, man, people, they just hammer you on shipping to Hawaii. But whatever, money's not an issue. Go for it. You could spend your money on far worse things. Anton says, I do love technology, but I don't need the Aiden. I prefer optimizing the brewing process, and I can control more variables by hand. Currently, I think the Pulsar is the pinnacle of pour-over. Ooh. The Pulsar was nice. I haven't used it in a while. I mean, I borrowed it from a friend of mine. I didn't buy one. Paige says, I can see it being... the funny thing, Paige, is when I first got into coffee, my first SCA exposition, my first trade show, was the 2003 SCA in Boston. And I was totally green. And I was like, oh, there's a big trade show about coffee. I need to go to it to like immerse myself in that world. And I go there and I'm totally overwhelmed. It's a totally overwhelming experience. No idea what's going on. And I stumble across this barista championship. And those of you who've been to the barista championships will know that when you go to the barista championships and they're talking about like you're watching this barista, let's say the barista championship, you're watching a barista perform, giving a presentation to these judges. What the barista the competitor was going to do, he's going to make 3 flights of drinks, and for each flight, he's going to make 4 of each drink, one for each of the 4 sensory judges that are going to taste the drink and evaluate the beverage. And for the barista championship, they make an espresso, they make a milk drink, which used to be called cappuccino, but it can be any proportion now. And they make a signature drink of their own creation that must feature espresso as a forward-tasting component. And I remember I'm watching this, and you watch it, and the MC's usually like, oh, let's hear it for his cappuccino. Let's say Paige is competing. Let's hear it for Paige cappuccinos. And people start to applaud because she served the cappuccino. And I'm watching this. It's the national championships, right? And I'm watching this, and I'm like, what the is this? I was like, what the heck are these people doing? This is ridiculous. This is stupid. This is just absurd. Like, I thought it was the most absurd thing that I've ever seen. I would never do something this dumb. I was like, this is some dumb ass stuff, right? I was like, this is crazy. These people are crazy. Clapping for cappuccinos. Fast forward a year to 2004 Atlanta, and I'm deeply immersed in that world. Deeply, like hardcore into it. So, but I remember the first time I was like, what the hell is this? And those of you who are like enthusiasts who read a website called coffeegeek.com, Coffee Geek is run by a guy named Mark Prince. And back then in 2003, I didn't know this at the time. I didn't know who he was. But there's this guy, big chubby guy, Mark Prince. He's got his big camera and he's taking pictures and he's in the way. I'm like, dude, I can't see the damn thing. I was like, and I'm just like, I was just kind of like irritated. I was like, because first of all, I'm watching this thing. I think it's dumb. And now this guy is taking all these pictures and he's in the way. And I'm like, dude, you need to move out of the way. I said, move out of the way. He was all irritated. I was like, move out of the way. You're blocking the view. You're not with the AP. I don't know who you are, crazy man, watching like people make coffee. But I do find watching it, observing it, like to be rather droll. Like, I'll watch if I'm friends with the person, I know the person, I'm vested in some way with the person, but most of the time I'm like, when you're judging, it's different because you're actually involved and like for me as a head judge, there was a lot of things for me to do during the presentation. So, but yeah, and they missed the boat a lot of times. They missed the boat so much, like. There used to be a time when you used to be able to grab the cup. You used to be able to go to the side and get the cups that the judges had served. They had served the judges there. They finished with, and you used to be able to taste it. They don't want people to do that. They don't let people. They really should be exploiting the drinks that are being made. Like, and most baristas I don't know what's wrong with them, but like a lot of baristas think the signature drink is superfluous and tedious to make. But I think it's the most interesting one. Like, it's the one that's like, that really pushes your craft. Like, you really have to think about how can I make interesting drinks that taste good. And I also think that's the drinks that interest the audience the most. If they're really interesting drinks, that's the audience is watching. Like, yeah, there's espresso, there's cappuccino. Sure, that's cool. But you're mixing in what with what? I would like to try that. Everybody falls down on that. I don't know why. I don't understand it. Peter says no. The real question is, for Dev, the real question is what? So Dev is I'm gonna presume that Dev is using tap water, and tap water in Hawaii. I've actually not tested it. The Devs probably have, but as far as the water for drinking, the tap water in Honolulu is excellent. It is superb. Like, it is a delicious, delicious water. Like when Fiji water first came out in the United States back in the mid-90s, I remember them hyping it up. I was like, look at this crazy price water. And I looked at the bottle, the packaging, and they're talking about artisanal wells that rainwater flows through the soil and the volcanic rock into these aquifers. And I was like, dude, that is, in Hawaii, we call that tap water. Now, I don't know what the TDS, and all the different parameters of magnesium and all that are for Honolulu's water supply, but as far as the way it tastes, it's pretty damn good. Peter says, no, they give out Michelin stars to street food now. Huh? True. Rusty's here. What's going on, Rusty? Paige says, tres leches, yum. He's very nice. Rusty says, on what list are you talking about? We're talking about the best 100, top 100 cafes of the world. It's on, they have an Instagram page. George says, regards your comment about coffee shops and not being at the same level as top Michelin-starred restaurants, don't you think that's because what customers prefer? Relaxed vibe and lower prices? I mean, sure, for certain, without a doubt. there's something to be said about that. But if we're going to talk about the best, like when I think of the best, I think about it should be a place that's worth a special journey. Like if you're going to make a special journey to go there, like you'll make an effort to go there. Like for example, I think it's the same group that released the top 50 restaurants of the world. What's the one that they really, Osteria Massimo in Bologna? Like my friends who've been there, they're like, yeah, that's worth the effort to go to. Like it's worth to travel there for. Like when I went to Bodega El Capriccio, which was regarded as one of the great steak houses of the planet. And that's in this little teeny tiny town outside of Lyon, Spain, which is about 3 hour drive from Milan. I flew there. I was like, what is this place? What steak? I must go. I called them up and I was like, can I come eat? And they're like, yes. Can I come Friday? They're like, yes. Can I come at 9:30 at night? Yes. I will be there. And I had to fly. And I flew there I was in Italy at the time. I was actually in Bologna. And it was so worth it. It was amazing, amazing. Bodega El Capriccio. Like, it's truly an amazing experience. So I think of like the best coffee shop in the world. Number one should be a place that's worth like I gotta go to Australia to go check it out. But I'm speaking on this. I am going to make this statement without firsthand experience of Toby's Melbourne. But I've been extensively to Toby's Philippines. If I made a special trip based on these rankings, and I flew all the way across the planet to Australia to go to Melbourne, stayed there, and went to Toby's, and I got an experience like I get at Toby's Manila, I would be upset. Like, I would be like, what the? I just flew all this way for what? For avocado toast and a flat white? I'd be pissed. Now, conversely, and I will say this with the knowledge that the guy has been a personal friend of mine for 20 years. But if I flew to like Tim Wendelbo, if I flew all the way to Oslo, and I did, the experience that I had at Tim Wendelbo was worth the effort to go. Now, I can't say that without acknowledging the fact that he's been a personal friend of mine, and that is going to play some factor in that statement. But I think when you're talking about the ranking the best coffees and the best coffee shops in the world, there has to be a reason to go. Like a lot of these shops, they may source and sell bean coffee that's really beautiful. That doesn't mean they're executing at an incredible level. I don't know, but I'm interested, to hear what you guys think about that. Paige says, Tres Leches is my favorite cake. Kent says, both my local coffee shops should have been on the list in my... Which ones? Who are your local shops? I'm curious. Yeah. Okay. Even Omniel wants to know. Peter says, I can make Filipino lechon. See? Filipino lechon, it's a good thing. Maku says the Chastain restaurant in Atlanta doubles as a cafe, so it can kind of count as a Michelin award-winning cafe. Oh, nice. So did they give? How many stars did Michelin give to Chastain? I haven't been to Atlanta in quite a few years. Dev's asked, are you using a cupping spoon? Yeah, because that's all I have here is my cupping spoon. It's kind of fancy. And it's got a little engraved. I don't know what that means. A lot of people in the coffee business, a lot of professionals will have their cupping spoons. A lot of them will have silver spoons with their names on it. I have a couple that have my name on it. I won't pretend that I don't. They were usually gifted to me. Like, I'm not going to go out and have my name put on a spoon. The thing that I find interesting about coffee people, and I refuse to do this. I refuse. Just out of spite at this point. But a lot of the guys, I know, they bring their own spoons with them wherever they go, and they cup with their spoons. And I'm like, why would you bring your own spoon? Just use it. I just use whatever spoon they have. If they got like soup spoons, that's perfectly fine for me. I can still taste the coffee. But you know, c'est la vie, as long as you enjoy it. Anton says asparagus is lovely. When the harvest starts, we eat it frequently. Oh, asparagus, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to disparage asparagus. But there is a distinct difference between eating cake and asparagus. Ken says one is called Café Missionen. The other one is that little Café Compagnie. Oh, Compagnie in Bergen, Norway. Nice. I will have to remember those. Omniel says it's nice to have a world-class cafe. It is nice to have that. Then Ken says got to have the good locals. And I think we should always support local shops. Always. I think it's important. Maybe because I'm saying it because I operate local shops. So don't take that with too much weight. Omniel says Panther's probably the best in Miami. Joel has always done a great job. Joel's got great background in the coffee business. He came from Stumptown with Dwayne. Was a roaster there, and so he brings a lot of great credentials and really great skills, knowledge, and experience. So when him and his wife moved to Miami, you know they were going to do well. Paige says, I'm going back to Raleigh in about 2 weeks for the Barista Championship at so they had the other ones, but not the U.S. National Barista Championship. Okay. So the Barista Championship, they may have a brew bar then, but I think that'll be fun. I think you'll have a good time with that. It's a nice world to check out. Like, most of the people in coffee are very nice, very friendly, very earnest. I'm running out of coffee now. So that'll be good. That'll be a good time. That'll be a good time. I'm presuming that's the 7th. Is that right? I think it was March 7th. That's the week I'm supposed to go to Covington, Kentucky. There's a hand tool manufacturer up in Maine by the name of Lee Nielsen, and they make like hand planes, woodworking hand tools, and chisels. And I was looking at their website the other week, and they were like, "We're having an event. Come for 2 days and try out any of our tools all day long." And I don't really know anything about that world, like the hand tooling. If you look, like I said, if you look at my mortise and tenon, you'd be like, "Oh my God, dude, you should just give up now." So I was like, if I should just go out there and like go experience this and like immerse myself in that world. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. Anton says, Aniel, I think it's great to have someone who specializes in something. For example, here in Cologne, I have one shop who specializes in Canafora Napa Payamino from Ecuador. Wow. You mean that's all they serve? Is the Napa Payamino? That's wild, man. That's wild. Like I haven't finished the video for it, but I met a guy in California last year at a place called Teofilo Coffee. Crazy dude. He opened a second location recently. All he sells is coffee from the Philippines. That's it. Nothing else. Just Philippine coffee. I'm like, dude, this guy. Like, I admire his commitment to the coffee of my people. Like, I really admire that. And I'm kind of envious of that. But he's kind of crazy. That's all he does. I'm like, dude, how do you make it work? I'm in the video, I'm asking him, how do you make it work? He said, well, I just make it work. I was like, that's crazy. This guy's crazy. But I love crazy people. I love crazy people. Anton says, specializes in coffee from Indonesia. Oh, so from just Indonesia. So any kind of coffee, but from Indonesia. Okay, gotcha. And the owners are all Indonesian. This guy, man, at Teofilo, man, he's Filipino American like me, and he's like, all about it. I'm like, dude, I just import coffees from the Philippines and work with a couple of farmers, but this guy is like all over it. He's all over it. I'm so impressed by him. Anton says, it feels like an Indonesian embassy, and they have some of the greatest coffees I ever tasted. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, Indonesia does have beautiful, beautiful coffees. Peter says, Indonesia has some decent coffee if you like funky brew. Faye says, I thought the SIGS competition was really cool. Coffee and Good Spirits. Yeah, that is a cool one. I was actually going to compete in that this year, or this past fall. And even had secured a spot, but we had an issue that came up with family that I couldn't go. And I was like, so I called my friend Ashley, who was probably there. Short little girl with like reddish hair, probably calling the shots. Like she's like the big cheese now. And I called her and said, Ashley, I can't make it. I'm sorry, dude. Something's come up. And she was like, yeah, don't worry about it. I was like, next year. Okay, next year. Peter says, New Zealand water is top notch. Oh, I bet. That's the place that I really want to go. Some of my friends were asking me last night, what place do you want to go in the world? Like, what's your bucket list? I'm like, I don't really have a bucket list. But now that you mentioned, like, New Zealand is a place I've always wanted to visit. One of my really good friends, she's lived there for many years. Like, I dated a girl from Auckland many years ago. But another friend of mine, she's been there. She was there for like 20 years. And she was always like, well, come visit. Like, I grew up with her. So she's like, you're going to come visit? And now she lives in Sydney. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to go visit you now. No, maybe I will. Omniel says, Anton, that is fire. 100% fire. Not too much of that going on here. In about the coffee shops. Yeah, it's tough. And I think part of it could be like, especially where, I was gonna say maybe it's because people have more. There's a greater concentration, a greater focus on quality in some other countries than we have here. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. Omniel says that the best coffee I've had so far in 2025 came from a German roaster. Oh, those Germans, they're very precise, man. They're very precise. Omniel says, I think it was called Hinterhof. I bought it in Louisville, Kentucky. Videos will be up on it. You bought it in Louisville. If I go to Kentucky, maybe I should. So where did you get it in Louisville? Maybe I'll go see if I can get some of that. Omniel, back courtyard. Wait, back courtyard? Back courtyard is the place in Louisville, or because a friend of mine in Frankfurt owns a coffee company called Backyard Coffee. I don't know if that's maybe the same thing. Anton says, if you want to try coffee roasted in Germany, try Marimanis or Vivaldi. Also, Luchtfeuer has premium coffees. Like Finca Soledad. Oh, nice. Ken says, yes, Tim's is great, really classy and welcome. Yeah, I had like I mentioned before, like back in, I think it was 2019 I was there. I was judging at the Danish Coffee Roasting Championships in Copenhagen. And I called up Tim and I said, hey, Tim, man, are you going to be around this week? I want to come visit. He's like, yeah, come up Wednesday. So I flew up Wednesday morning. And he said, I'll meet you at 2 o'clock. Because that's when I have time. I was like, okay, cool, I'll be at the cafe. I walk in. I didn't tell the staff that I was there to meet with Tim or that I knew Tim. I just walked in and just bought coffee like any normal person would, right? Because I wanted to see what it was like to be a regular person. And great coffee, great service. I mean, just everything super. Kent knows. You've been there. Like it was a great time, and it wasn't. And the staff looked genuinely surprised when I was sitting there, and Tim came in and sat down and hung out with me, and because I don't think he had prefaced that I was coming, which was great. I'm glad he did it. So I got to experience it as anybody would, which I like to do. I prefer that. Right? O'Neill says very small business. Yes, yes. Peter says good plantation, different from good roaster, good barista, or good cafe. Each needs its own category. I agree with that. I agree with that too. Anton says it's in Germantown. No wonder I hadn't heard of it. Oh, in Louisville. Disparagus. Oh, I like that. I like that. Gosh, I guess I'm really far behind. It's considering that the Amiel says a very small business, but whoever is roasting is doing a great job. So what was it called? It was called Backyard. Is that right? Back Courtyard. I'm gonna go. If I can make it out that way, I'm gonna go check it out. Amiel says I gotta record your shop when it comes. You're more than welcome to come out anytime, man. Anytime. Dev says next time you're in Hawaii, you should check out my friend's coffee shop called Drip Studio NHL. NHL or H&L? I know you'll love their shop. All right, awesome. H&L. No worries. I understood what you meant. Neil says, Deb, for a second, I thought it had something to do with... Peter says, no larger global branded cafes got voted, so probably referring to smaller cafes. Yeah, okay, gotcha, understood. And I don't know if I would... I don't know if... Has Toby's been bought by a global brand like Stumptown and Blue Bottle? I don't really know that. I don't really know what's... The last time the last time I saw Toby, he was still the owner, or it hadn't been sold to a bigger operation, as far as I know. Anton says it's not all they serve, but it's their flagship and what they are known for. Their selection is not big. They have a Napa Palomino in honey, natural, and anaerobic variants. One decaf. Oh, okay, gotcha. And sometimes some other canifer that has huge beans. Oh, wow. And a blend. Gotcha. And Peter says, because Arabica and Baca coffee is good, New Zealand has good coffee too. Yeah, New Zealand's very good. I mean, that's what I hear. I think my impression as an American who's never been to that part of the Pacific Rim, my impression is that pretty much great coffee is to be had everywhere. I'm sure that's not true, but I'm like, the impression is that there's great coffee in all of Australia and all of New Zealand. Because they're so serious about it. Dev says a hockey-themed coffee shop would be dope. That would be nice. Get strong on caffeine and fight like we did the other day. My Lecfiora pronunciation is 0 out of 10. Neil says that Hinterhof means backyard. Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, Hinterhof, okay. Oh, Hof is courtyard? I always think of Hof as like the Hofbahnhof, right? The train station. Okay, perfect. If you Google the name, you should see the location. Again, I'll talk more about. Okay, cool. I am Delta Legend. I just crapped myself. Oh, my goodness. That's a terrible thing. That's what happens when you have coffee. Booster says, yes, I experienced great customer service at Tim Wendelbo's coffee shop as well. Oh, awesome. Oh, yeah, man. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to give that. I really appreciate that. That's very nice. That's very nice of you. I take it in. You're welcome anytime. Actually, all of you are welcome anytime. George says Hinterhof Coffee is in the Germantown neighborhood in Louisville. Pretty awesome place. Oh, even George has been there. Gosh, man, I'm totally like out of the loop. I feel I'm an outsider here. All right. Well, so the coffee in the BonaVita, nice, easy to use, not as sexy as the Aiden that Dev is going to buy, but I'm an older guy that's more curmudgeonly. So, all right, I guess that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow with more of the coffee Q&A. Booster wants to know, do we have a tentative date for opening? Oh, yeah, the tentative date for opening was May of 2024. When we took over the space a year ago, I was like, yeah, we should be open by May. Yeah, I have no idea at this point. I have no idea. There's been a whole bunch of stuff that has caused the delay. I've also stopped stressing about it and being upset about it. So, but soon, worst comes to worst, we're gonna get this set up and start doing like education out of here, and not necessarily food service. All right, so I hope you guys have a great day. Kent, thank you. Paige, Mom, good to see you. Anton, good day. I'm now going to make a nice light roast. Excellent, excellent. Go enjoy the espresso. Booster says, I'll take off from work just... Okay, awesome, awesome. So, I hope you have a wonderful day out there. Back again tomorrow, and see you then.